You want to watch some random kid that you've probably never met in your life dilly-dally around in the mountains of Alberta for like 10.5 hours, looking for caves, abandoned structures, old roads, whatever else I can find? No, I mean, that's actually boring now that I think about it. Alright, just got out of Calgary. It's a crisp 4:25 a.m. in the morning. I thought I'd get myself an early start just because it's going to be pretty hot today. So it's about another hour and 30 minutes from here. Sun's finally starting to come up a bit. It's only 4:45. That's awesome. Alright, so we're finally at the point where we start heading west into the mountains. Almost 5 a.m. now. I can see them. Probably about another hour until we get there. It's basically perfectly clear outside, which is pretty rare to have. That's just going to make it even greater, so I'm getting excited now. Pavement ends here. It's gravel from here on out. Got about another 40 kilometers until the trailhead. Alright, we've arrived. The road is gated off after this point, so we're just gonna have to walk up it, but that's okay. Alright, here we go, and we're off. We got like about 6 kilometers to go until we hit the tree line. After that, it kind of just opens up into a big expanse. Very panoramic. You can see a lot. Make it a lot easier, I hope, to find what I like to find, particularly these caves, but again, it's a maybe, we'll see. It's going to be a high of about 30 degrees today. It's currently 2 degrees outside, so I've got to enjoy this weather while it lasts because it's going to heat up quick. The road just keeps on climbing. We're about 2K in now. Very steady incline though, I really appreciate that much. So I'm just a little off to the side of the road right now, and I found a couple little points of interest that I think are pretty neat. So, spring here. So typically in the Rocky Mountains, springs like this are normally safe to drink. Not health advice, of course, but I'm gonna give my water bottle a little top up here. It's a little awkward to wedge it between the rocks, but there we go. Give it a try. Very good. 100% worth it coming up here. Another little cool thing about this place is I believe these here are actually wild onions. I'm going to leave them because I don't need them, but that's a pretty neat thing. Alright, so we've got about another 2 kilometers till we hit the tree line. We're about 3 kilometers in. It has warmed up significantly. It was 2 degrees at the start of the trail. Now it feels closer to like 14 degrees, probably because it's just a cold pocket down in the valley over there where I'm parked. Definitely going to get a lot warmer once the sun hits me, but we'll take it as it comes. Such a nice day outside right now. So just up there I'm seeing some signs, and essentially what those signs saying is we're crossing into a bit of protected land that's known as an ecological reserve. So in the province of Alberta, ecological reserves are like these special designated areas for places like this where the local environment is very sensitive or very unique or needs to be protected to a much higher level for whatever specific reason. And I'll get into the reasons as to why this area is within an ecological reserve. But just a couple differences is one, Alberta is really good with letting anyone pretty much just camp within public lands. Obviously there's restrictions, no camping in provincial parks, national parks, you know, and that also applies to ecological reserves. So theoretically speaking, I could camp up there, but I couldn't camp around here. Once we get up onto the actual like plateau itself, it will make a lot more sense as to why this area is under an ecological reserve designation. Got another gate here. So not too long ago, and even sometimes in the modern day, you can actually drive up to this gate here, which would have saved me a ton of time, but I don't mind walking up it. And also, if the gate at the bottom was open, I went up here and parked and then came back down and it was locked, I would be in a bit of a sticky situation, so still best to park at the bottom for me. Man, that water there is so clear. probably another spring up here. Yep, my guess was correct. Right there. Pretty sick. All right, so the trees are starting to thin out a lot now. You can see the whole valley that we came up. Definitely some rain going on because it's got a little rainbow going there. And then just up there, I think I'm about to get my first little bit of direct sunlight for the day. Sun's up now. Finally get some actual sunlight, which is pretty good. Here we go. I'm so excited. All right, we've cleared the tree line now. So that there is the whole mountain that we're going on. The reason I've been calling it a plateau is because it is a plateau, and the name of the mountain is called Plateau Mountain because of the fact that it's a plateau. I'm being way too obvious right now. But anyways, what we gotta do to get up there is we're gonna continue along this road. Kind of snakes its way up to the top over there. And then from there, we're gonna continue north, go search for these caves. Little problem with these caves, I actually don't know where they are. The only two things I know is that it's on the north side of this mountain and that it's somewhere in a cliff face. So this is gonna be a little bit of an adventure once we get up there. Just gonna see what happens. If I find them, that's great. If I don't find them, go to some other places. There's plenty of cool spots to explore around here. That weather system up there is starting to blow this way. So I'm actually getting some raindrops. But again, what happens, happens. It's all good. So it's actually just full on raining now. It goes to show how quick the weather in the mountains can change. One of the biggest unwritten rules of hiking is no matter how good the weather forecast looks, you always take a rain jacket because stuff like this can happen right here, even if it's not in the forecast. All right, it's gotten a lot windier, but the storm is starting to clear, which is absolutely great. So this thing here kind of brings me on to the first point about why this whole area here is under an ecological reserve. This kind of looks a little broken and I'm not going to touch it, but to my knowledge, this here is a well dug to measure the temperature in the ground. Now the reason why that there are wells dug all around Plateau Mountain to measure the temperature in the ground is because there's actually permafrost under here, which is really weird. We are nowhere near the Arctic. Permafrost has been observed in I think maybe 2 other places in all of Alberta, and when we get to the top of the plateau, there's some places where you can see actual ground patterns occurring of rock and vegetation because of the permafrost. Time for me to have a little sitting break. Some good news and I got some bad news. The good news is the storm's gone, which is great, and the wind has also died down. The bad news is where I'm stopped here, there's this little creek bed. Last time I came up here, there was water flowing from a spring through here, and I was kind of banking on the fact that there's going to be water here to fill up a second water bottle to give me enough water to comfortably make it over to the north side of the plateau. I'm just going to go up there and search, and if I find water, I find water. If I don't, I'm going to need to figure something out pretty quick. Last year, the spring flowed directly out of the grass here, and it was bubbled up, and then all went into the creek bed, collected there, and then flowed down where I could collect the water in my water bottle. But there's nothing. It's completely dry right now, so I'm gonna have to look a little more. Yep, completely dry. So once I'm finished sitting down, I'm gonna keep on going, and I'm gonna be a little more vigilant for any form of water supply, whether that be a spring, whether it be even a puddle, pond, whatever, because I kind of need a lot more water for this. I have about maybe a liter left, and I was hoping to have 2.5, so we'll see what we can do. We're almost at the top of the plateau, which is really exciting. And over here, it's just like a bed of grass and flowers and like just completely flat. It's so cool. So these rocks around here are actually an example of the ground pattern created by the permafrost. There's rocks here, and interspersed between the patches of rocks, like down there and over here, are some elevated bits of like moss, grass, flowers, the likes. This is kind of sort of where the permafrost gets a little higher up and closer to the surface. I think I'm not sure how close it is to the surface, but it's creating very obvious effects over here, which I think is so cool. Another interesting thing and another reason why I assume that this whole area here is an ecological reserve is because these flowers. So these flowers here are, to my knowledge, not found pretty much anywhere else in Alberta, and it also acts as a habitat for unique species of butterflies which pollinate these flowers, and those butterflies are also seen basically nowhere else in Alberta. I just saw one of the butterflies over there, so I'm going to see if I can get a photo of it real quick. All of this rock in here is a much more pronounced example of the ground patterns that the permafrost creates. What an amazing little track we got here. So there's another little pretty cool fact about this road that goes up here is that it's actually the highest maintained road in Canada. At its highest point, which is just behind me, gets up to about an elevation of 2,450 meters above sea level. Now, if you were to look up highest roads in Canada, it probably wouldn't show up. The two contenders that usually show up is Alberta Highway 40, which is about 50 kilometers that way, and there's the Canoe Mountain Road in British Columbia. So each of them have a flaw. So the Canoe Mountain Road, it's not a road, it's not maintained, it's a high clearance vehicle track. There's no way you could get a normal car up there. And then Alberta Highway 40, while it is the highest paved road in Canada, and to my knowledge, it's actually the highest road in Canada open to the public. The Plateau Mountain Road here is actually still the highest maintained road in Canada, which I think is pretty neat. As you can see, the further north we get, the more the ground patterns become apparent. So again, that is mostly caused by permafrost, all of that pattern there. Something I didn't realize that I should have checked on a map is that this is actually a pretty long walk out to the ice caves. I mean, it's like completely flat, so not much complaints. So I think I'm seeing something pretty cool. Not going to be able to catch it on this camera. Over there is downtown Calgary, so I'm going to see if I can grab a photo of it with this camera right here. Yeah, so it's very hard to pick out and it's very faded, but that is most definitely downtown Calgary. We're probably about 100 k's away in a straight line from it, so that's actually pretty crazy that I managed to spot that. Alright, so we've now reached the end of the road. My assumption is we're just going to keep on going that way. Go down, allegedly, the caves. There's two of them. The ice cave and another cave a little bit above it are in a cliff face, and there's a little bit, I think there's a little bit of scrambling down to get to them. I'll just take it as it comes. If it looks really gnarly, then I'll avoid it. But chances are I'll probably be able to find it. I'm not super sure. It looks like there's like some signs up there or something. So it's starting to get real windy outside. Hopefully the microphone's picking up my voice a little bit. So I'm gonna put some photos up of the signs and what they say. But essentially, this area here used to be a parking lot. Until about 1977, I think, this road used to be completely open to public vehicles. Whoever wanted to come up here. And the ice cave itself is open. But the problem is that the ice crystals in the cave are so delicate that even the tiniest temperature change could melt a bunch of them. That melts a bunch of really cool ice crystals. It pisses off scientists that are trying to study it, and it poses a danger to the people who are in the cave. So there's a gate across it. I'm still going to try and find it, and I'm going to see if I can also find the other cave that is down there. My assumption is that the caves are either in this rock bit here, or it's under a cliff face somewhere further down there. So it looks like the first cliff band. It's kind of just like a pile of rocks there. So there's basically, I don't think the caves are going to be in there. There's not a big enough like space for two different cave entrances at two different levels to be there. So I'm assuming that under that little meadow bit there, there's another cliff band. And we're going to go check that out down there. So it looks like we just got ourselves a big scree slope here. My plan is to go down a little bit. I'm going to traverse across. The caves may be a little further down, or they may be between those cliff bands a little bit further over there. Either way, I'm going to find them. I really hope. I decided to traverse from up there and then down to here, so time to keep going. I'm still feeling perfectly good, so I've got all the time in the world to spend up here to look for these things. Turns out on this side of the mountain there's actually cell service, so I assume that I am connecting to some sort of cell tower way down there in the prairies. Good thing to have, because before I was sending messages on the inReach to check in with people that need to know, and a lot slower, so I'm glad I have service up here. Secretly, I just want to doom scroll Instagram Reels. I'm going to try a bit of a different approach now. What I'm doing is I'm going back up, and I'm going to head out east, and drop back down into the scree slope. Maybe unsuccessful again, but it's looking like it'll be a lot easier to go back up because very, very direct lines I can see going across it. Allow me to drop down, check, go back up, and then go down and then drop down to the next one if the caves aren't there, of course. So I think I can kind of see the first place where I'm going to begin to look again. That's a pretty cool little rock feature there. I'm very tempted to climb to the top of that and take a photo, but I don't trust myself, especially with the wind. Right, it's been like another 30-45 minutes, but I think I found something. Let's go look at that. Oh yeah. So this cave here is actually just a little bit above the permafrost layer, to my knowledge. There's very, very, very little information available about this cave, but to my knowledge, its name is known as Sheep Cave. And then the ice cave should be just a little further down where the permafrost actually starts. Words cannot describe how happy I am right now to see this. Oh, it took me forever to find this. There's a ton of like scrambling and traversing between cliff bands, but I'm here now. So how about we take a little look in here? Okay, so the cave looks like it ends just in there. May as well go have a look. Ooh, it's cold in here. And it's also very muddy. There's tons of water droplets everywhere. And there's a clothesline with something on it. This looks like some sort of experiment they're conducting. Perhaps there's some form of chemical or something on this piece of glass that causes moisture or something else to condensate onto it, and they're just researching it. It says SP20, June 29th to July 5th. Cool. That is pretty neat. I don't think there are any more chasms in this cave, and even if there are, probably not a good idea for me to be going into it. But this is pretty amazing right here. Got moss growing all over the walls. Wow, this is cool. So my thoughts is I'm gonna quickly leave my stuff in this cave up here, and I'm gonna drop down real quick to see if I can find the ice cave, which should be a little bit down that way right there. So I spent about another 30 to 45 minutes searching for the ice cave entrance. I cannot find it. The problem is I left almost 5.5 hours ago. I don't want to spend too much more time over here. It would probably be best if I just sat down in this cave for a little bit longer and headed to the other part of the plateau. You know what? I would still call that a successful expedition because found a cave. I was looking for a cave, but I've spent way too much time over here, so I should probably head back up. I'm going to see if I can take a shortcut. That's probably going to turn out really bad, but we're going to see. My thought is to see if I can just scramble up this little rock section here. If I get cliffed out up there, I'll just come back down and then keep going back down there, but I'm hoping it'll turn out all right. Right now the cave's just below me in there. Just getting scrambled up a little rock gully, and looks like I'm not going to be cliffed out, which is very great to see. All right, so now that I'm done checking out the caves, I'm going to head over to the south side of the plateau, check out a couple little features there. It's probably about a 7-kilometer-ish walk from here because this plateau is absolutely massive. It'll probably take me maybe an hour or two, I'm thinking, to get back over to the south side. One thing to note is that the northern side of the plateau, which is all of this here, is a lot lower down than the southern side of the plateau, which is where I came up. So that peak there, there's Sentinel Peak, that peak there is about the same elevation as the top of the plateau on the south side. The top of the southern part of the plateau sits at 2450 above sea level. We're currently at 2250, so we got about 200 meters of elevation gain to get going. Oh, words cannot describe how windy it is now. I'm like having to lean into the wind. It's probably gusting to like maybe 120 k's an hour. It's ridiculous. Oh man, it was so windy back there that I could barely breathe unless I was turned in the direct direction of the wind. So just up there is where the road starts. I'm gonna continue along here just to avoid the horrible wind. it seems to me like we're gonna have this like horrible gusty wind for the rest of the day. It's bad news. Pretty pixelated video because it's zoomed in a lot. Some sheep right there. It's kind of cool. Alright, that's the next destination right there. Alright, so this thing here is actually an abandoned natural gas well. There's lots of permafrost under Plateau Mountain, but another thing that's also under Plateau Mountain is a ton of natural gas. And I mean like a lot of natural gas. So this gas well, to my knowledge, stopped being operational in the 1980s and it's just been abandoned since. So we can take a look. Doesn't look like I can really get into there, so I'm not going to bother with it, but so there's actually another one of these gas wells a little further down this way along the road, and that there over there is a true summit of Plateau Mountain. If you continue down, the road goes down onto another little step, and that's where the next gas well is, but that's probably not something I'm going to do today. It's probably in my best interest to get headed down now, because I've been up here since 6 a.m. It's now about 2:15 p.m. and I am tired. I think I've walked way too much today, so that's what we're going to do now. My knees really hurt right now. How about we surprise them by going up that ridge there? Quick little detour. Has snow up there. I think I might go on it real quick. Here we are. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty old, but cool that there's still some snow at all. You can tell we're about to get to the top of the ridge by the fact it's getting really, really windy again. Pretty neat. Wow, it's windy. It's really windy again. Why did I do this? Oh man. Yeah, I was excited to get out of the tree line this morning, but the wind has just picked up so much. It's not that bad here, but further up it was, even along the ridge, it was almost as bad as like the summit of the plateau itself. So I'm excited to have some peace and quiet in the trees without the wind howling at me all the time. Now that the wind has died down and it's kind of just going through the trees now, I can really feel how hot it is today. I can smell it in the air, like this dry, hot smell of pine that you get on a hot summer day. All right, next thing I gotta look for, gotta find a spring. I haven't had water in about 4 hours. I don't feel super thirsty, but I am probably way over dehydrated right now. So as soon as I see a spring, I'm getting the water bottle out. I'm seeing some water down there, but I don't think it's a spring that I'd be able to put a water bottle up against. I think its flow rate's a little too low, so I'll just have to wait for the next spring downstream. Oh, I see water. Yes. There we go. I'm gonna see if I can drink this entire bottle right now because I am really dehydrated. Man, that was so good to have. I feel a lot better now, even though I didn't feel that thirsty in the moment. Of course, again, that was a spring. Don't ever drink water unfiltered unless you know exactly what you're doing. I know for a fact there that back there was a spring and I didn't see any external source of contamination, you know, animal poop, garbage and the like up there. So that's the reason why I decided to just drink it unfiltered like that. All right, we've got to this gate here again. So what that means is we've got about another 5 kilometers to go, or about another hour and a bit. Man, I always forget how long this road actually is. Like, I've just been walking and walking and walking, and it keeps on going. I think I'm seeing the best view of all time right now. Finally, the car. Unless, of course, I'm hallucinating, which I probably am at this point. So, yeah. Oh, man, it's nice to see civilization again. All right, so that was by far the longest day hike I've ever done, both in terms of time and in terms of distance. My GPS on my phone is saying over the course of 10 hours and 54 minutes, I did 31 Ks and 1,022 meters of vertical ascent. So that's a pretty good day hike. Yeah, I've had enough of this road here. More of this road here. And if I ever make one of these things again, I will see you in the next one.